Hello everyone, a quick intro to this video. So I have this OBD2 scanner, I think it is. You plug it into the car and it's Bluetooth, and you open up an app and it tells you all the codes and stuff and what's wrong with your car. Well, there was a code and it said that cylinder 2 was misfiring. Cylinder 2 is this one here. Whenever there's a diagram, I'll do more later, but cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, this one was misfiring, so I'm going to replace this ignition coil and all the 4 spark plugs. Okay, so my car had a code of cylinder 2 misfire, and this is a Chevrolet Spark LT 2014, year 2014, and to get to the ignition coils, I watched a couple of videos. They were somewhat helpful, but these connections here are the ignition coils, and there's 4 of them, so you got to take this black part off to get to them. I took this little bracket that was right here, I took that off, and here are the bolts for it. And you need this is a half inch socket to get those off, and then all of these little bolts here, these are 10 millimeter, which is this right here. So you need a 10 millimeter socket to get those off. There, you can see that right there. But the first thing, you want to disconnect the battery, which I disconnected, and it kind of wanted to fall back, so I put my glove there to put in between the terminal and the battery. I mean, if you want to, you can disconnect the positive, but I just gonna, as long as one of them is disconnected, that's fine. Now, to get these back ones off, you have to have this special 10 millimeter socket that swivels. I don't know what these are called, but this is a 10 millimeter socket, and I did not have one, so I had to go to O'Reilly's and buy one. But you have to have this to get this off, because if you don't, this top part needs to come off, and I don't know how to get it off. I tried unscrewing everything in the back, but it still is pretty solid, so I don't know how to get that off. I went ahead and took this little rubber piece off. But my goal is I'm going to go ahead and replace the spark plugs, the 4 spark plugs, and I will replace a cylinder 2 ignition coil. And let me show you, I have the ignition coil over here. This is what it looks like. It is really expensive. It was $140 for this little simple ignition coil. I'm sure it's pretty complex. And I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the spark plugs to the iridium ones. And these are pre-gapped. You don't need to worry about anything, but there they are. And you will need a spark plug socket, which is this one right here, and it is 5/8. It is deep well. It had a rubber piece inside, but I had to take it out because my spark plug was too big and it kept hitting that rubber piece and it would not fit. So I'm going to go ahead and take this black part off. I'm going to undo the rest of those. I got them loose right now, but they need to be fully taken out. I will take this off, and then I will get to the ignition coils. So I got that black piece off, and here it is, and there's the 6 screws that are there, and these are the 4 ignition coils. And I want to show you something. So while I was at O'Reilly's auto parts store, I had them print out one of these pieces of paper, and this is basically the arrangement of these cylinders and coils. So I'm going to replace engine coil 2, which is at number 4, and it's right there. So this is the transmission side, and this is the pulley side of the engine. And here you see the transmissions on this side, and pulleys are back there. You can see a belt on this side. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. And let me align it so it's like this. And number 3, wait, I am replacing coil number 2, so number 4 is right there. So it's the second one. I'm replacing this one right here. But I'm going to go ahead and replace all of the spark plugs. I need to blow some air and clean that out. Engine's a little dirty. Okay, I will take these off, and then oh yeah, these little brackets, before I do, you have to pull that red part back a little bit, and then get your screwdriver into there, and these come right off. But there's a red safety clip. You have to take a little screwdriver. Let me see if I can do it right now. One-handed. Get a little flat tip and just pull that back, but don't pull it all the way, just a little bit. There it goes. And then the fourth one is a little tough because it's all the way back there. And then these should, I guess you still have to use the big screwdriver and get them off. Let me see. I guess that the bottom piece here picks up, and then this thing slides. I'll need my other hand. Let me try to get it off right quick. Yeah, you have to, this bottom tab here, you have to pick that up, and then the whole thing slides. But you kind of have to use two hands. It's a little tough to get them off. There you go, just like that. And it comes right off. Okay, I just used a 10mm socket to get these 4 bolts off, and I laid them down right there. And then so this just lifts up and comes right off. It's supposed to anyway. I might need a little help of a screwdriver. There it goes. So this is the one that's bad, and you can see inside there's the spark plug, which I'll be replacing. So I will toss this one aside. And then let me try to get that spark plug off. And it actually looks somewhat clean in there, so that's a good sign. Okay, I will get the rest of these off, and then I will start working on the spark plugs. It was kind of hard to get them out. I had to use a screwdriver to pry this one. You can see I scratched a little bit of aluminum there. And then it came out, and I twisted it out, and it came right out. So there's 4 of them. I laid them out. The number 2 was bad. I'm replacing that one, so I have that one put aside right there. But there they are. And now I'm gonna try to work on those spark plugs, get them out, put new ones in, and we'll get going. So I had to make this magnet thing so I can pull out the spark plug, and here it is. And this car has about 80,000 miles on it, and that's what it looks like. It does look like it needs to be somewhat replaced. And yeah, so you have to have a little magnet thing to pull the spark plugs out because it's kind of hard to get them in there. To get them out, I'm sorry. So I got more of them out. I just loosened this one up, and I'm gonna use my little magnet thing. I have 2 of these little whatever they're called, and I'm gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna lay it on the ground. But they're right here, and they're all kind of dirty. I mean, normally the spark plug should last the lifetime of the vehicle, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace them because these kind of look bad. And look what I found. So cylinder 4 looks like. Let me see if I can get this to work. This spark plug was heavily corroded, pretty bad. So it is time for it to get replaced. While the others, I mean this one, it's still somewhat okay, but they do need to get replaced. But cylinder number 4 was pretty bad. And so they do sell spark plug cream, like the stuff you put on the threads to keep them from being, I guess, fused in with the metal and easy to remove. But all new spark plugs normally come with some of the cream already on there, so there's no worries about that. Alrighty, let me install these 4 pre-gapped spark plugs, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so the new spark plugs here, this part here, the end, is not iron. So this does not stick to the metal. I'm sorry, this does not stick to the little magnet that's on here. So I'm not able to lower them down. And I'm afraid that if I just drop them, this metal will get bent and it will mess up the gap in between the 2 pieces of metal. So I'm going to use this needle nose pliers, and I'm going to lower it in there as much as I can. I'm going to gently release to drop it in there because I don't want to just drop them in because that piece may get bent. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then you want to, when tightening this up, it's good to check the specs, but you want them snug. Like put put them in snug, and then do a little extra quarter turn. You don't want them too tight, but you don't want them too loose. Okay, I have all 4 spark plugs all tightened up. And also one thing to keep in mind, you want to put the spark plugs in when the engine is cold. You do not want to tighten them up when the engine's hot, because the block is aluminum and it won't be right. You have to do it when the engine's cold and it's pretty chilly outside. So it's good. All right, now I'm gonna put the 4 ignition coils on, tighten them up, and then start putting everything back. Okay, I have all 4 coils inserted. Now I'm gonna tighten them up. This is the brand new one, and the other ones are the originals. All right, let me get my drill, my socket here. This is a 10 millimeter socket. I'm gonna gently, very lightly, all right, now I'm gonna tighten them up by hand the rest of the way. I don't want to do it with the drill. Now, I already put this one back, so you want to pull it back on, and then you want to pull this red tab forward again after you're done. So push this on, and then the red tab forward. Push this on, red tab forward. Push it on, red tab forward. All right, let me do that, and then I'll go ahead and tighten these up by hand, and I'll see you shortly. Okay, now it's all tightened up. Now I'm going to put this piece back, and I'm going to put in those 2 bolts right there. I'm going to put these 2 back on, and then connect the battery and take it for a spin. Okay, everything's connected, everything looks good. I have disconnected the bolts on the back. The hoses, you want to inspect the car before you turn it on. Make sure that there's no tools and everything's connected. So there's no tools left behind. I don't see any. Everything's connected. I connected back the battery. Now I'm going to close the hood, and normally I hear lots of rumors that when you plug the battery for a long time and you plug it back in, it basically resets the car, and the car, kind of recalibrates or whatnot. So I'm going to kind of take it for a drive, but I'm going to be a little aggressive on stopping and acceleration, just so all the sensors and all the throttle position sensor and all the stuff gets aligned and set correctly, hopefully. All right, well, I'll let you know what happens. Okay, I think that fixed the problem. I just took it for a ride, and at first it was kind of acting a little weird, but then I guess the sensors and stuff all adjusted itself, and it worked great. Hopefully that fixed the problem, so I won't have any more cylinder 2 misfires or any kind of misfire codes come up. I will let you guys know in description if anything else, if I have any more trouble, and I'll make updates to the video. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.